Hello World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with this hair. And man, it feels like only yesterday that we were neck deep in the 2024 summer special. I mean, you know what I did last summer. And I know what you did last summer is a brand new remake in 2025 based on the 1997 movie I Know What You Did Last Summer, which itself is based on the 1973 Lois Duncan novel I Know What You Did Last Summer. Though that's really more of a thriller mystery novel rather than the 90s slasher flick that the film was. It's just more of a, kind of spooky, scary whodunit. And the dunit isn't actually being done. Unlike The Killer and I Know What You Did Last Summer, the 90s movie. And the 2020s movie, I'm assuming. I haven't seen that one yet. And the TV series, I guess. I didn't watch that either. But I am going to watch I Know What You Did Last Summer. And if we're lucky, YouTube won't crash and burn before next summer. So, let's take a look at I Know What You Did Last Summer. And see what you did last summer. On a dark and relatively calm night, we see a mysterious individual perched upon a cliff. Seems to be real lost in thought. Well, never mind that for now. We've got to get to introducing the important characters over the local beauty contest. In the balcony, from right to left, we've got Ray Bronson, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., Julie James, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, and Barry Cox, played by Ryan Philippe. They're all here to support their bestest friend, Helen Shivers, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Now, in the spirit of Mother Teresa, what will be your contribution to your community and the world at large?
The usual. I'm gonna go out and find all of the sick, poor people out there, gather them all up into one place, and keep them in a state of torturous agony, siphoning the energy from their suffering. Of course, she just goes off about moving to New York to become a famous movie star. Close enough, considering she's the only important character up there. It should come as no surprise that we're completely skipping over asking any questions of the other contestants and skip right to saying, congratulations, Sarah Michelle Gellar. You win the grand prize. You are the prized beauty queen of this tiny fishing village. No bother. Just means the after party is a bangin' ass beach party with barbecue and beer.
How's my hair?
Hurricane proof.
Hey, it's all about the hair. Don't you forget that.
And in defiance of stereotypes, we see that the blonde girl in the horror movie is actually one of the smartest characters in all of cinema. Though her sister, Elsa Shivers, played by Bridget Wilson Sampras, begs to differ. And who cares what Geeky McGeekface thinks of the queen of the fishing shithole? She's here to party! But what's this? Max, played by Johnny Galecki, begins schmoozing up to Julie, despite the fact that she is the earmarked love interest of Ray.
We've been friends since forever. Now you can't just leave without a farewell, right?
Right.
A toast to us.
But fortunately, she is saved by Mr. Cox. Hey, Ray, when society says that men should be like a rock, they don't mean to just sit there brainlessly and do nothing. Therefore, Cox gulps down that drink in Julie's stead before starting a fight with Max. Then Ray jumps in like, oh no, fighting? That's the bad thing. Don't do the bad thing. As such, with bad thing avoided, they decide to all say fuck it and leave, heading to Dawson's Beach. More than a little obvious reference to Dawson's Creek. Here they tell ghost stories. Specifically, the one ghost story that is told around these parts, meaning instead of telling it, they argue over the details, as they've all heard it, but heard it slightly different. Did the escaped killer decapitate his victims or gut them? Well, no matter what the methods, the point is, he had a hook for a hand. Whatever, it's not like it's real.
It's an urban legend, American folklore, and they all usually originate from some sort of real-life incident.
Yeah, that's neat and all right, but unless you bring some news clippings, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that the real-life story that inspired that was that the guy had a hangnail or something that resulted in death! Infections were a lot worse back in the 1800s, The Ghost Stories reruns might not be nearly as entertaining as the beach party they were just at, but what it lacks in presentation, it more than makes up for with teenage fucking. Helen jumps on Cox while Ray confesses his undying love for Julie. And at the very least, that's good enough for her to take off her blouse.
Are you sure?
Now seriously, lady, are you sure? How much did you drink at the beach party? Because, I mean, let's be honest here, I wouldn't fuck me. Well, one person who has definitely had too much to drink would be Mr. Cox over here, and Helen doesn't want him driving. Ray, the paragon of responsibility, can be the designated driver, but Barry doesn't want anyone else driving his car. So Ray drives his car. Just a happy group of best friends with their entire lives ahead of them. Barry grabs the booze and continues to celebrate, as nothing could possibly fuck up their lives. I mean, unless you count the vehicular manslaughter thing. Though they didn't realize right away what's going on. Must have hit a deer. The more pressing matter is Ray dented Barry's car and covered it in unsightly blood. But where did the blood come from?
Oh my God.
Oh no, now we're gonna go from morgue to morgue, checking the bodies, bringing out the feet, seeing if the boot fits like some cadaver Cinderella. The teens figure the best bet is that one booted dead guy like 15 feet away.
Check his pulse. No way!
Look, dude, I might have killed the guy, but I ain't about to touch another man. So they have no idea what they're doing, but the guy's probably dead. Whoever he is. Little Impact there did a number on in the face, and now they face a dilemma. The fuck do they do now? Julie insists they call the police, but Barry will have none of that. It's his car, and he's drunk as shit, and he knows damn well the police will simply blame him for the death. So after some deliberation, it's pretty much 3 against 1. Sorry, Julie, but we gotta dump the corpse in the water. But what's this? Someone is driving along the road. So quick, they must be distracted. Them being our old buddy Max.
What, you got car trouble?
Actually, it's Barry. He's had way too much to drink, and we're trying to keep the upchuck out of the new car.
Huh. What's with all the blood? That's dye! A red roadie. I guess they didn't really use real tomato in that Bloody Mary. Good enough for him. So he leaves, allowing our horror tradition of teenagers in groups making bad decisions to haul the guy they hit over to a local pier.
Wait,
What?
should we check his wallet and see who he is?
Why?
Well, it would save a hell of a lot of time in this mystery going forward, but I mean, if you hit a celebrity, you can expect the law to really come cracking down on you. But if you hit a crackhead, then... Oh wait, what if you hit a celebrity crackhead? Point is, it would be smart, and there's next to no reason not to, so of course they don't. But what's this? Hey, look, the guy's alive! It turns out this whole needing to hide the body thing was just one big misunderstanding. So they throw his ass into the water anyway! But oh no, he has taken the crown, but have no fear, for Cox is here, grabbing the crown from the obviously still very alive guy. But whatevs, they left his ass in the depths below. If they didn't kill him before, they probably killed him now.
And never, ever, under any circumstances known to God, speak about this again.
I get what you're saying, but the insurance company is going to wonder why there's this big asshole-sized dent in the front bumper. Or at the very least, your dad. Everyone agrees to not tell a soul. Except for everyone's favorite party pooper, Julie. Well, that's nothing some aggressive throttling and screaming can't fix. So she finally agrees, sure, she'll keep it secret too. With that, we suddenly jump 1 year later and see Julie's plans are working out mostly as intended, with her going to college. But it's summer break, so she returns home, with the events of last summer still heavy on her mind. Realizing something isn't right, her mother, played by Deborah Hobart, reaches out to her.
Are you on drugs?
What? No, this isn't a Rob Zombie movie, don't worry.
What? I just wanted to surprise you. I want an honest reaction.
So you mean you don't have any drugs to offer? No, just concerned for her daughter's well-being. She's acting strange, and bringing the mail gives Mommy a chance to mention that Julie's report card came last week, and her grades are poor. She is almost failing, which is so unlike her, I think. What could be wrong? Nah, whatever it is, it's probably in the other room, leaving Julie all alone with the letter. Yeah, Summer of Chucky, I've been really trying to get past that. Julie's like, who sent this? And Mom's like, I don't know, why? And Julie's like, no reason, and runs away. This small piece of paper sends chills down her spine. So the following day, she goes up to Elsa like, this is important. I need the number to contact Helen in New York at once. And Elsa's like, she's over there behind the counter. Yeah, it turns out that whole I'm gonna move several states away and become a famous actress shtick is a lot harder to do than it is to say. But the note means she knows that someone knows what they did last summer. Thus, it's off to collect Mr. Cox, Helen's ex-boyfriend. And a lot can happen in a year, huh?
We can't just ignore it.
Come on, Julie. How do you know this is even related? You did a lot of things last summer.
There's a barbecue, a family day at the zoo. That time you and a bunch of other kids locked your parents in the basement, can't forget about that one. But Julie says it has to be about the man they killed, David Egan. They did a news story and everything.
His body was caught in a shrimp net not far from Miller's dock.
Well, that had to be a hell of a catch. What in the Bubba Gump fuck is this? Julie waxing poetic about manslaughter this, murder that. It's nice and all, but Mr. Cox wants to know what Ray thinks about all this.
I haven't seen Ray since last summer. We broke up, and last I heard he was working up north.
So in case you missed it, this year has completely fucked up the lives of absolutely everyone involved. Julie's failing, Helen is in a dead-end job, Cox is relatively unchanged, and Ray is just, whatever. He's not in the picture anymore because, fuck it, why should anything work out for anyone at all in any way? But who would be so crazy to contact them 1 year later? Surely it was someone who witnessed them that night.
Max.
Max, what, you think?
Well, when it comes to witnesses, you did have all of one guy, so I'd say that's worth checking out. And so they do.
You two wait here.
What are you gonna do?
I know what I'm doing.
By which I mean Mr. Cox does, but he brings the girls along just long enough to inconvenience them and take up their day. Seems Max is working as a fisherman, which, to be fair, is about 80% of the employment in this town. Once Cox gets in his face, they head into the back for some private conversation.
Look, you shit, we got your little Leonard.
What the hell are you talking about?
Don't fuck with me, Max! You saw us that night.
What the fuck are you on, huh?
Red Bull and Fireball, what of it? Grabbing a hook, Cox threatens Max. Leave us alone or feel the wrath of Cox. All right, job done.
So, did he admit to the letter?
I won't bother you anymore.
What did you do?
I took care of it, okay?
Yeah, we confirmed Jack and shit, but running around and making enemies of all of our acquaintances is bound to work out in the long run, But looky here, Ray is here as well. Seems this is the job he got. Fishing! Again! Thus, Cox decides to say fuck it and leave, and Helen follows suit, leaving Julie and Ray all alone.
We need to talk.
The hell, lady, you already broke up with the man. Oh, right, the note thing. Well, she brings it up, points out that Max is the prime suspect, and that's that, I guess. But she still has this nagging, I gotta break up with you a second time energy, so he apologizes, saying he knows she feels he is responsible for that tragic night.
No, I'm responsible for my own actions, and I don't blame you. But I don't want to know you either.
So just to be clear, we're breaking up with him twice, at least. So she must run. Don't know why. I mean, think about it. We're now watching Max, all alone, performing mundane tasks that have absolutely no bearing on the plot at large. Y'all know what that means. The red herring is the kill that starts off Act 2. That's really not how red herrings are supposed to work. Which I guess would make Mr. Cox our prime suspect. He was just being all violent with Max, but wouldn't you know it, when he finishes up his dude bro gym routine, we quickly scratch him off the list of suspects, which I guess narrows it down to the announcer from the Miss Pretty Titty contest. Looking about, Cox can find no one. But if there is no one, what happened to his jacket?
Hey, Hank. Who else is here? Anybody else working out?
Just you and me, pal.
And whoever it was slipped by the desk unnoticed. Probably like shimmying on the ground on their hands and knees. Hearing someone stealing his car, Cox rushes outside. Slight problem with this strategy, though. You see, whoever this is has a car, and Cox is just standing here with his dick in his hand. So they run his ass over! Very gently, clearly not fast enough to do any actual lasting damage. Hey, being directly responsible for and extremely enthusiastic about vehicular homicide is one thing, but taking out all of the red herrings right away is just unforgivable. I mean, there's literally no reason given for him to not kill him right here and now, except of course for the fact that we're only 40 minutes into this 100-minute movie, so Mr. Cox is at the hospital with all of his friends, or past homicidal acquaintances. They have come to check on him, but who could have done it?
We all know you have a slicker.
You are not gonna throw this on me.
Yeah, that's too obvious. I'm still putting my money on the judge. Probably some weird 10 Little Indians reference. Ray says they should tell the cops, and Julie, of course, agrees, but Mr. Cox doesn't want to hear it. There's no statute of limitations on cold-blooded murder, which is exactly what happened, logic and reason be damned. So Cox says they track down the baddie themselves.
How do we find him?
Well, it's gotta be a friend or a family member of the guy we hit.
Maybe a co-worker. Perhaps an evil clone. Ray insists that Max is still a suspect, but Julie doesn't want to hear it.
What I want is for you and me to just...
Listen to me, Ray, okay? I want you to get something. There is no you and me.
Pretty sure he wasn't trying to insinuate there was, but hey, way to keep being his ex being your primary character trait. So it's Julie and Helen on the case. Where to find out about David Egan? Why, Google, of course. Seems that not last summer, but the summer before last summer, David Egan's fiancée died in a terrifying car accident. No bother. His mom and sis are still alive, so they're off. But there is no answer. At least not for 8 agonizing seconds, so they try the window.
Can I help you?
Introducing Melissa Egan, played by Anne Heck. Really hope I'm pronouncing that one right. Showing classic Southern hospitality, she invites these 2 potential B&Es inside for some AT&T to call AAA while she makes them BLTs. But the story they spun about having car trouble and needing a phone was but a ruse to get inside and ask weird questions to get information about her brother.
Didn't he hang out with this guy? I mean, they were really close. God, what was his name?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know too many of David's friends.
Oh.
Did he often hire hitmen? For reasons? Eventually, she does somehow let it slip that David used to have one pal by the name of Billy Blue, and they fucked. But it didn't work out. He had emotions and feelings and ugh. Hearing this, Julie and Helen decide to say fuck it and leave.
Oh, I don't want to miss AAA.
We appreciate the phone.
Anytime, you know, I don't get too many knocks on my door nowadays.
Or Jimmy's at the window.
So what now?
Now we try and locate this Billy Blue.
Jesus, we went from night with Cox to morning at the hospital to going to Melissa's, and now suddenly, boom, it's nighttime again. In the middle of summer when days are at their longest. Fucking A. So they must find Billy Blue at once. Later, first Helen's got to call it a night and spend a bit of running time half suspenseful, half sexy. And we know that someone is in the house. But what do they plan to do? Cut her hair. Jesus Christ, this movie needs a content warning pulling off shit like that.
Hello? What? Oh my God.
Oh, I hope that phone call wasn't too important. Oh my God. Hang up. In a rush, Julie drives out at once, but her car is making this weird noise. Oh, so that's the horror. In the middle of all this bullshit going on, surprise, gotta take in your car for some maintenance. Again, let's dip into the savings once more. But when she reaches her destination, she checks and discovers her car has crabs! Oh, and Max's dead body. So she must run, retrieving Helen and Cox. Like, you gotta see this shit!
Don't even. He was there, goddammit, and he was wearing your jacket, Barry.
Well, his jacket's probably fine, considering how spotless and clean your trunk is there. I mean, think about it. Dead body full of crabs. Just moving that in that time frame would have been really difficult. But yet, not only getting that completely out of there, but leaving it spotless and a fresh scent. You're dealing with Cenobites. They're the only ones with these Mr. Clean powers.
He's just out there, and he's watching us and waiting. What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Leading to this classic scene where, as legend has it, was directed by a kid who won a contest to direct the scene in this movie and was like, have her go around screaming, the fuck you waiting for? Which is a sentiment I share, considering the fact that, There is no motivation whatsoever for the guy to not kill them, so why is he not killing them? But where is Ray?
I've been looking everywhere for you guys.
You're gonna die.
Nah, he's fine. That's just a Southport hello. Cox says Ray must be the killer, but Ray's like, no. Look, I got a mildly threatening letter today.
I got run over. Helen gets her hair chopped off. Julie gets a body in a trunk, and you get a letter? That's balanced.
Cox, I hear what you're saying, but I'll have you know, words are violence, and they had some very mean things to say in that letter. Ray is shocked to hear Max is dead, and Cox is like, oh please, we all know you did it, and we cannot trust you, which is the perfect opportunity for Julie to completely break character and to decide to side with Ray for the first time all movie, no questions asked.
Okay, so if it's not Fisher Boy here, who is it and how do we find him?
We think his name is Billy Blue.
How do you know that?
Oh, right, the one and only lead you actually got, like, how long ago? Doing some quick assumption math, they figure his year of graduation, grab a yearbook, and oh, darn it, there ain't no Billy Blue. Or is there? They figure he might have lied about his name while boning Missy. So if they bring down the yearbook, she could point out Mr. Right. Ray absolutely refuses to follow that lead, so Helen offers to help, but as you know, Bob, you have that parade to attend.
No, you need to be there in case he shows up.
I don't want him to show up.
Well, I want him to show up. We're starting to run out of film in the cameras. So she's going, but don't worry. She's got Mr. Cox for backup.
If he shows up.
I'll pound his ass.
Listen to yourselves.
I'm not saying you shouldn't confront the man. Just be more mindful about how you word it. Ray says they must do the right thing, and Julie's just like, no. So he says, fine, let's just say fuck it and leave.
We can leave town. Disappear.
I've already disappeared.
You can tell by the fact that her life is just continuing on exactly as planned, far more than anyone else in her friend group. And except for the whole breaking up with her boyfriend and failing school thing. Therefore, the parade goes off as planned. Helen rides the float, sporting a new short do, and her ex-boyfriend rides in the front looking like he just lost a fight with a weed whacker, scanning the crowd for any ne'er-do-wells. Well, looky here, there goes one right now! So he rushes into the audience to beat the crap out of the guy! But he can't be the killer. He's far too old and frail and close to death anyway. It's like these kids have never watched Saw. Meanwhile, Julie, continuing to stay as far away from Ray as possible, has returned to Missy to find out more about the ever-elusive Billy Blue. Missy's getting awful suspicious of her motives, though, so she explains, the death of her brother was no accident. And she's like, yeah, no shit, some bitch up and killed himself. Even left one of them our suicide notes about it. Julie swears it was actually a threatening note, and they killed him with their car. Saw the tattoo on his arm and everything.
He doesn't have a tattoo on his arm.
I saw it on his
You
right
didn't see
forearm.
anything. Get out of here.
Except that was another dead end. You know, movie, we got like 30 minutes left. It's okay to give us something to go on. Well, Helen did see one becloaked individual with a hook. So at the very least, that freaked her the fuck out, but don't you worry. Mr. Cox is here to keep her safe. And by here, I mean up at the balcony, all alone with his back turned to the only exit out of everyone's sight. So it's only Helen who witnesses him being murdered directly in front of her eyes.
Somebody help me, please! Somebody help me! Help me!
You might be wondering why she was even on that stage. Well, you see, it is tradition for the previous year's winner to present the crown to the winner of the following year. See, they were in frame for like 1.5 seconds last time. Good thing too, because otherwise that would mean that it would have been the old man doing the announcement that had won the previous year. I know what you did last summer. But wouldn't you know it, when the cop, played by Stuart Greer, goes to look, it's all clear. You know, as long as you ignore all the blood. No worries, Officer Fucknugget can drive her home while judging her harshly the whole time.
Did this fisherman guy use the same hook that cut all your hair off?
No, we used scissors, asshole.
Not to mention earlier he was like, Barry who? As if him not hearing about the guy must have meant he never existed.
We're gonna have to take the alley.
Have you ever seen a horror movie character so damn anxious to get themselves killed? But they should be safe. I mean, unless he sees someone all alone in this dark alley and decides to just waltz up to them and turn their back when Helen starts screaming that that's the killer and he's in danger. Please, I am not sure there was a single thing that character did their entire time on screen that was of any assistance to anyone. Except perhaps the killer. With the power of high heels, Helen gets the fuck out of there, and we see Julia's back up to her old tricks, asking Google for help. Which would probably go even worse these days with Gemini. Hey, it's Billy Blue. No, Gemini, it wasn't Billy Blue. You're right, it wasn't Billy Blue. Is there anything else I can assist with? But she learns the girl that died had a father named Benjamin. So you see, it wasn't David Egan walking on the road all suicidal and shit. It was Benjamin walking on the road for no fucking reason. It seems high heels can only take you so far, though, and Helen makes her way back to the family business, but it seems her sister is not quite as helpful as she needs at the moment, scoffing at the idea that anything that could have Helen screaming and yelling about locking the doors and calling for the police could be even remotely important. At least up until her insides wind up on the outside. That clears it up real quick. This, of course, leaves Helen all alone. Phone line dead, sister dead, and herself about to be dead. This scene is honestly pretty fun for horror. He ambushes her, but the plastic wrap leaves him unable to finish the job, so she attempts to flee, taking the little rope elevator thing, while he says fuck it and takes the stairs. Still, she has enough time to leap out of the window, leaving herself winded but alive. And would you look at that? The parade is still going on. Man, this fishing village has an endurance plus 30 or something. But when she gets close, she thinks she hears something behind her. But the real threat is in front, as the killer beats the crap out of the woman, murdering her mere feet from safety. You gotta be careful with those slasher villain teleportation powers. They can do anything when just out of frame. In the meantime, Julie has run around looking for everyone, and seeing as her options are limited, actually does meet up with Ray. Like, hey Ray, guess what? We didn't kill that guy we thought we killed another guy, Benjamin. And now we gotta figure out what to do. He's like, it's fine, nothing's wrong, just come with me. And she almost does, but wait! His boat is named the Billy Blue.
You. Oh my God, it's you.
Which means he must be Billy Blue if his boat is named the Billy Blue. I mean, didn't you notice earlier? It was on screen for a couple of seconds way in the back and obscured. Gotta love mystery writing when the writer is so intent on making sure no one will figure out their mystery that they just don't have any fucking clues at all for the entire goddamn story. Really engaging. So she must run, and he must chase, because we got like 10 minutes of movie left. We gotta get somewhere with the plot before it's over.
Oh! Oh, please help me, please.
Easy, child.
So the totally real, just found out, truly psycho killer of death and murder is easily knocked out by a friendly, kindly old man. Yeah, I wonder who that could be. He tells her to hurry onto the boat, and so she does. Hopping aboard, he quickly follows, pulls away from the dock, and gets them far, far away from anyone who could help. Wouldn't you know it? This boat just so happens to be chock full of all kinds of little pieces of evidence linking this guy to last summer. How convenient.
Kids like you should be out having fun. Drinking, partying, running people over, getting away with murder, things like that.
Right! Glad we're on the same page. So, just to be clear, not only do you know what I did last summer, you're cool with what I did last summer? This is Benjamin, played by Muse Watson, the dastardly demon denizen back from beyond the grave. Or maybe being hit with a car and chucked into the sea is just something you can walk off. Either way, he intends to kill her. But Ray was just knocked out because stupid villains are just as exciting as crafty heroes, right? That way, while she flails about ineffectively, he can speedboat over there and climb aboard to help. They are really not very good at this. It's a party of incompetence when you think about it, considering Ray was, yet again, only mildly brushed aside by Ben, allowing him more than enough unrestricted time to get back into the action. While Julie continues to play cat and mouse with Ben, she hides in the ice below, but as it turns out, she isn't the only one down there. So that's why no one could find the bodies. He hid them on his boat. Why no one questioned this guy dragging several dead teenagers across the city with a hook on multiple occasions. Well, that is a mystery for the ages. In any case, Ray whacks Ben in the face, knocking him out of frame.
Come on, Julie.
She knows it's you, Ray. She still just really doesn't want to touch you. But what's this? Ben is still kicking.
And let me give you some advice. When you leave a man for dead, make sure he's really dead.
Well, that's a hell of an and remember. But wait! His hook gets hooked, and they pull him up, chopping his hand off before throwing him into the waters below. Guys, let me ask you something. What the fuck did he just say to you? Good enough. He's probably dead, but what about that ridiculous red herring with Ray?
The guilt was killing me. I had to know who he was. That's why I went to see Missy. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but...
It turns out he was just doing his own investigations off screen. And he named his boat the Billy Blue because it was slightly less incriminating than Roadkill Raymond. Point is, they're fine. They lived and they love each other. And look, they even found 2% of the killer's body. Everything is bound to be fine from here on out. See, we skip ahead a year and find out that Julie is doing great in college. She's going steady with Ray. They love each other, and she's even invited to a party. Oh, but would you look at that? They still know what she did last summer. And it ends on sequel bait, of course. At least they had the foresight in this movie to introduce a new friend in a silhouette, so in the next movie they can cast whoever they want and don't have to worry about continuity. Anyway, that was I Know What You Did Last Summer. And, is it just me? Or did the twist kind of ruin it? Seriously, I can't be the only one who thinks this way. A twist works, especially in a murder mystery, by recontextualizing the things we've seen before and having us realize the story we just experienced was not the story we thought it was all this time. But under a new light, it can be enjoyed again on a deeper level. I Know What You Did Last Summer actively fails this on several fronts. First of all, the movie absolutely hates the idea of giving any clues to the audience at fucking all. We spend the vast majority of the movie on an investigation, but absolutely every lead is a dead end. It really comes off more like it's just treading water than slowly peeling back any kind of mystery. But like I said, what ruins it is the twist, because the revelation of Benjamin Willis as the killer all along is not a revelation, it's an asshole. He wasn't even mentioned as someone who even existed until 5 minutes prior to his appearance. Not only that, no clues really led to him. He was just mentioned to be someone who at one time was breathing, then we find out he's still breathing and on a killing spree. Y'all remember how much I didn't care for how Pamela Voorhees just pops up very late in Friday the 13th, and suddenly we find out it was her all along. But she's got one big thing above Ben that helps a lot. Motivation. Sure, Ben gets hit by a car and left for dead, but I ask you, why in the fuck did he kill Max? He had literally nothing to do with anything. If you go by motivations, Ray had plenty of motive to kill Max. Max was after Julie, Ray was Julie's ex, there's a lot of bad blood there. But then remember, Ray was boning, sweet on Missy as well, under the pseudonym of Billy Blue. This is where I look at the movie like, you know what? If Ray and Missy were the killers, that would have been far more believable and interesting. It would go a ways to explain the motivations for killing everyone, how the killer knew who they were if that was never told to anyone, that whole teleportation trick in the alleyway, and how Helen appeared to actually be holding her own against a physically imposing middle-aged man. If she was being chased by Ray and ran into Missy, that scene makes a lot more sense. Then there's the possible recontextualization about Ray and Julie's scenes, where Ray could be trying to reach out to Julie to flee this place so as to spare Julie's life, but Julie simply sees it as him trying to hook back up with her and refuses his advances, leading to the final showdown between Julie, Ray, and Ray's new girlfriend, Missy. But nah, it was Ben. He's just a psycho killer, and all the clues foreshadowing meant jack shit. Hope you weren't paying too much attention. At the end of the day, I Know What You Did Last Summer is an okay horror flick. Certainly a lot of parts could have been written a lot better than they are, but it does a decent job of giving us spooky scenes and fun enough kills, if not Psycho Slasher sequel creative. Coming in at 3 hook hands out of 5. Oh, and I forgot to mention, let's say David Egan was going to kill himself, but had a change of heart and turned around and was walking home, which is why he was on the road, and then got ran down and killed. Hey! Motivation! It's a hell of a drug. Thank you all for watching. I've been Dr. Shado. And remember, never, ever trust a man named Benjamin. Such a dark and foreboding name. Benjamin. Who knows what evil lies in the hearts of Ben?
Benny, Benny, Benny boy. Benny, Benny, Benny boy. My favorite fisherman coming up for seconds. Benny, Benny, Benny boy. Benny, Benny boy. Benny, Benny, Benny boy. Benny, Benny boy. Local teams feel the wrath of Benjamin. Hit by a car, then dragged to a dock. Teens tossed him in, he sank like a rock. Gonna keep the truth of this on a lock. Ben returns with a hook for your cock. Oh, Benny, Benny, Benny boy. Benny, Benny boy. Benny, Benny, Benny boy. Benny, Benny boy. Favorite fisherman coming up for seconds. Benny, Benny, Benny boy. Benny, Benny boy. Benny, Benny, Benny boy. Benny, Benny boy. Local teams feel the wrath of Benjamin. Go! Benjamin. So, what did you get up to last summer?
I Know What You Did Last Summer? Ooh, what a crock of shit.